And welcome. It is Wednesday, July the 6th, 2022. This will be very soon things you might have heard for this day. The last 30 hours of life has gone on, and we've been a part of it. Believe it or not, we've been posting news stories every 50 minutes, and you have got a chance to enjoy them, engage with them, see what news stories were most conversational, most willing to, what's most important to talk about, more or less. And we're going to talk about them right now for all the folks who missed out on that big old fun. If you want to be a part of that big fun, just check out our main website. This is theconversationproject.com for all the details on how you can partner up with us, find more sponsors, and most importantly, follow the feeds and help vote up the stories with engagement. Let's get into the stories. We've got about 8 stories this morning, so let's go on and get them really quickly. We got through this very fast yesterday. Let's see if we can keep that pace up for another day. Story number 1 reads like this one. 2 police officers have been shot in the area of Ben Franklin Parkway during Philadelphia's 4th of July festivities. Yes, this is a story from 2 days ago, and this was a teaser story from yesterday, and this is a story that continues on our thought processes of thoughts and prayers and things going on. Now, what was going on were the 4th of July festivities in Philadelphia at Ben Franklin Parkway, where 2 officers happened to have been doing traffic duty for the duties. Their 4th of July work was basically watching traffic on this street. Shot by not so random assailant in this area. Both officers are doing fine. I did not see an update to the story, to be honest, because we've been focused on the shooting at the parade in Illinois and the shootings in Chicago, because even though the parade in Illinois was a tragedy, there were still a good 20, 30 other shots going on. So other incidents happening in Chicago that same evening of 4th of July, just gun things happening. So this is just a way to just keep that conversation going on just the state of America, see what's going on. There are a lot of different factors going on. There are illegal guns that are held by criminals that are doing really, really bad things, number one. And there are the assault style rifles and the randomish seeming people who are attacking people in these terror attacks. These are, not necessarily terror attacks, but they terrorize people in general, and they're bad as well. These are 2 different issues that both be solved with, I guess, a combined effort to just think about the entire thing going forward. I'm not a politician. I'm just a dude reading news stories on the internet. So my take, may not mean very much, but someone's take probably should, and someone should listen to get some things fixed in these areas. Next story. Cherelle Griner says Brittney Griner is struggling. Quote, I will not be quiet anymore. TheHill.com. Cherelle Griner did an interview with CNN over the weekend, preparing for the 4th of July, and it was going on with the trial of Brittney Griner starting last Friday, going on more or less now. Russia has like a 97% prosecution rate, so basically anybody that gets locked up for something gets locked up big time, and her crime is smuggling marijuana. Essentially, she had cannabis vapes in her pack when she was flying back to the States. And it doesn't matter whether she's a kingpin or just had a couple in her, they can put her away for a long time, 10, 15 years, hard labor for smoking marijuana. Now, we know this is a big deal because she is an American citizen. We know because people have talked about the fact that who she is or who she isn't is kind of the bigger deal in this one. Like her coach for the Mercury said, if this was LeBron, she would not be in this situation. If this were a person who weren't if this were a random person that were not black, female, or a lesbian, this probably would not be happening. So because she's a big target to pick on, she's someone that brings in news and media and attention, she's the one who's being picked on. Brittney Griner's wife, Cherelle Griner, is now being more and more vocal with the media, more vocal with the White House, more vocal in making sure that her wife is hopefully getting out as soon as possible and being taken care of over there. Both of those things looking very doubtful because Russia is Russia. We shall see. We had the story yesterday, but it did not reach into the range of stories for getting into on the thing for when she wrote the letter to President Biden, and I was going to talk about it anyway, and it just sort of slipped my mind in the speed of things are going on. When I saw the time was going so fast, I kept pushing and forgot to put this in there. We're going to do our best to make sure you are notified what's going on in the life of Brittney Griner over in Russia until she's back home as often as we can. whether it's in the range or not. Airline SAS files for U.S. bankruptcy protection as strike grounds flights. Very simple, very for their a story. Reuters.com is there. Click the link in the description. Go deeper into this story. But there are issues going on all over the place with airlines. Mostly not enough people to fly in the very, very crowded and very, very sort of jacked up skies. Life is not good for airline pilots, airline flight attendants, folks like that, because people are people. Humans are humans, and they're pretty bad people. So because of a pandemic, meaning less flights and canceling people in a sense, canceling planes, and now lack of pandemic, more or less lack of pandemic, bringing all these flights back and people being people. There's not a lot of folks out there flying and working airlines. SAS has a strike going on, which basically has no flights flying. And so the airline is trying to stay alive by filing for bankruptcy. We'll see how this one goes. We'll see if any other airline follows suit to try to save their own bacon in the process. But right now, the big issue is not enough pilots, not enough flight attendants, not enough planes, and not enough people who care to want to be in the industry. Huge blow for Boris Johnson as 2 senior UK government ministers resign. CNN.com is where we sourced this one. The first viewing I got of this was on probably an Indian news site, so it was kind of hard to figure out what was going on, so I couldn't tell just how important this was. Ended up, just because we had to, we fill a story every 50 minutes, we got to do this 24/7, ended up popping in this thing late in the evening, or early at night, I guess, and it popped up inside the range of stories to pick from, and we threw this out here. Now, I don't have the whole story up here, or I put up there with the 2 ministers that are left, but a few weeks ago, Boris Johnson survived a no confidence vote. Boris Johnson survived the chance of Parliament really wiping itself out and him losing power. But now those signs of strength and survival are crumbling as Boris Johnson is finding out some of his main allies are dropping off because they are seeing the writing on the wall. They can't get the job done. You can read more about this one if you're big into UK politics, but if you want to care about what's going on in the world, you got to know what your partners are up to, and you got to know how good they're doing. Boris Johnson was able to, oddly enough, slip in really well with the MAGA crowd and the Trump crowd, and slip in okay, trying to divorce himself from the MAGA crowd and Trump crowd. But because, of course, the Biden crowd not doing so great on his own, nothing to grab onto on this end to help prop him up. We'll see how this thing goes forward as well. We'll see how a lot of things go forward as well. Disney Plus just changed the title of Jessica Jones's Netflix show, and the title is now AKA Jessica Jones. Yes, dramatic, wasn't it? Now, AKA Jessica Jones is the name of the Jessica Jones's Marvel comics book for most of the life that has been in there, AKA Jessica Jones. And so what has happened, not necessarily for synergy purposes, but more or less for licensing purposes, because the Netflix show were licensed by Marvel to Netflix, and now they're owned by Disney, who owns Marvel. Essentially, they're retagging a couple things to make it all fall into the level of franchise. No word that Jessica Jones is coming back to taping anything. No word that Jessica Jones is going to pop up in the Marvels. I just threw that in there just for no reason. No reason to think that Jessica Jones, the character, or Christian Ritter is coming back to Disney or Marvel anytime soon. They're just changing the name because it's franchise-ish. It means absolutely nothing. AKA Jessica Jones. AKA just want to be in the news, I guess. Finland and Sweden move a step closer to NATO membership with accession sign-off, which I always say improperly, accession. This is just the paperwork. This is just getting in some of the fine print. This is going through some of the early training manuals to kind of get into NATO. NATO membership is basically weeks away, if not, maybe a few months, if that long. But basically, NATO membership is about to happen. And then we will see, what happens when Russia really starts blowing its top off for things like this. Finland and Sweden looking for a bit of extra protection, a little bit of extra muscle, because Russia is flexing its muscles in very, very, very scary ways. And they, of course, share borders and very close ties to the Russian land. Sweden, of course, is famous for being, neutral and everything. Realizing that, at this point, kind of pick a side. And the side they're picking is the NATO side. Not so much the U.S. side, the Western side, but NATO is an alliance that's allowing people in, and they're going to join in. It's just like Finland is going to join in as well. Trae Young joins new media gang, that's the way it was posted in the headline, to clap back at Skip Bayless. Firstsports.com with a Z gave us this one, is the source of this, is blogging this one. And this is actually going on for a long time. You may remember many years back, Richard Jefferson, back when he was with the Seahawks, blasted Skip Bayless in a debate when he was still on First Take, I believe, basically telling Skip Bayless that Richard Jefferson, was better at life than Skip, just in general, because Skip asked him, was he a better cornerback or whatever, and he said, I'm better at life than you, man. And so he blasted that one. Recently, it was Draymond Green telling Skip Bayless to shut the hell up because they didn't know what he's talking about. Trae Young, one of the new young guns in the basketball association, National Basketball Association specifically, basically calling Skip Bayless a fool, a buffoon, and saying that the white guy yelling at another black dude to make money and get attention is kind of dumb. And it is kind of dumb, but it is sort of what we fell into in line, because now we have the 2-on-2 shows. It's like going back to Crossfire, when Crossfire was a thing and you had to have the Republican and Democrat and going back and forth issue by issue. It's a lot like that. It's weird. It makes no sense. But Skip Bayless is a thing. Trae Young is now calling out Skip Bayless, and more people are starting to call out the media folks directly. Skip Bayless in this time particularly, a lot of love/hate going to people like Stephen A. Smith and of course Colin Cowherd, and some people are tossing a little hate at Simmons too. Sports dude not getting on the love he used to get about a decade ago, Bill Simmons. That is how things go with that one as well. And Grambling State fires volleyball coach who cut every member of team revoked scholarships. USA Today is our source of this one, and you guys did it. We posted this one late in our TikTok as one I'd like to talk about, and this one actually boasted pretty high. Interesting story about a coach coming into a school, taking over a team with a full team ready to go, and within 2 practices decides every person on the team sucks, and every person on the team gets cut, and every person on the team loses their money to go to school. It became a big deal at a pretty small school, but of course a school that means a lot for the area. I am from the area there, and it was a kind of a what's going on. Second to, who's the football coach, which is always the big deal. This one was a head scratch for many. It took a full season, took a full school year, a full calendar year, but the coach has been fired. More details on her by checking out the link in our description to go deeper into this story. Our story to maybe talk about tomorrow, a teaser story, if you will, reads like this. U.S. funeral home owner who sold body parts pleads guilty to fraud. Let that sink in for a moment. 5, 4, 3, 2. So if this is a story you'd like to chat about tomorrow, this is a story you believe is a conversational engagement, just engage with it as it posts. I'm basically right now as this recording live thing is going right now. So check it out, and you engage with it on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter, and you let me know by just reading it, liking it, loving it, sharing it, if it's worthy of a big talk tomorrow morning, big extension tomorrow morning. Right now, let's talk about something we hope is worthy of talking about. That's Blinkist, the Blinkist app. Go to thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist, and you can check out the Blinkist app for yourself, the full version of the app on us. And what it's going to give you is access to all the books that you've not had a chance to read, and you can read them. Most of them in less than 15 minutes. Some of them go as long as 30 minutes or so. There are some longer, deeper tomes that need a lot more going through. But what it actually does is it breaks down all those great nonfiction books and autobiographies and biographies into blinks. And those are quick bites of information that gives you the details right that. No fluff, all gooey center in the actual meal. And you can read them or listen to them in about 15 minutes. You can read the blinks, you can listen to them as audiobooks as well. They also have shortcasts, which are shortened versions of longer podcasts. They basically partner up with other podcast people to give you more content, and they take podcasts that are basically hour-long recordings and they trim them down to just the bones or just the meat of it, less bones, or maybe the bones if you like chewing the bones. That's your choice. But you can get the gist of great books, great podcasts, great autobiographies in much less time, and you can get a book in literally 2 or 3 a day. And the library grows often. I read a book every single night as I go to bed. And I also listen to a book before I go to work most days. 2 out of 3 days to go to the week before I head into work, I'll listen to a book riding into to work for Blinkist. Check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Full rights to the full app off the bat. Check it out. You will fall in love with the Blinkist app. So you may have fallen in love with us so far. You're here with us now, so we appreciate that. Our main website is thisistheconversationproject.com. Check it out for all the stuffs, all the stuffs, all the stuffs. Links to everything you can do to help yourself and help us. Partnerships links, sponsorship links, links to the feeds, links to our other projects going on. Check it out at the main website, our home for the Conversation Project. This is theconversationproject.com. Our feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes, we post a news story, and you can engage with them as you check your feeds for other Facebook and Twitter things. Like, love, hate, share, and as you see things that are interesting, engage in them. They get a chance to get a high engagement score. We pull from Tuesday through Friday stories from midnight to about 5 a.m. that previous day. So about 30 hours, 30 hours worth of stories to choose from. There's usually about 33, 35 stories in that swath. We'll take from the top 15 and pick 5 to 8 stories to present to you for your coffee talk rolling into the day. Check it out every single morning and make sure you are checking the feeds out to help us pick our stories. And the TikTok, which people are loving the TikTok. TikTok.com/@theconversationproject. Plus our YouTube page, our bread and butter. I like to think. But you can't do 16 minutes on TikTok. Almost got through with a cough break. This is theconversationproject.com/YouTube to get us on the YouTube. We're still getting that first. We don't have 100. I'll be honest. We don't have 100 subscribers yet, so we need 100 subscribers to get that custom name, custom URL. Soon we get that. Soon we'll put something pretty down there for our YouTube. In the meantime, today things to talk about. Happy birthdays for today. Holy birthday candles and cake for Burt Ward, who is 77 years old today. The original TV Robin. You know, take no imitations. Burt Ward is your Robin, and he will be your Robin forever. Also born on this day, July 6th. GW, that'll be 44 for you. George W. Bush, or not 44, that'll be 43, I'm sorry. I got my numbers off. George W. Bush turning 76 on the day, and Sylvester Stallone turning 76. Now, here's why we picked these guys, because it makes you wonder, you know, Burt Ward is 77 and old. George W. Bush is 76, looks old. Sylvester Stallone had some work done. He's still 76. He just looks like, you know, Kenny Rogers used to look. You know, Kenny Rogers had his work done. Nobody can tell he's Kenny Rogers. Steven Stallone. Sylvester Stallone, same deal. He's had some work done. We think he's Rocky, but we're not quite sure. We do know he's really, really old. 76 on the day. National Fried Chicken Day on the day. No jokes. No jokes. It's National Fried Chicken Day. Everybody loves fried chicken. No jokes. Go with it. National Fried Chicken Day. Deal with it. A study by AVG discovered that young children learn technology skills before they even learn life skills. Check that out. Life, like tying their shoes or making breakfast for themselves. Should have took that out because it made this really long. The study uncovered such revelations like 25% of small children could open a web browser. Only 20% of small children could. Only 20% of small children could swim without assistance. 29% of children between the ages of 2 and 5 can play with a smartphone app, but only 9% of those can actually tie their shoelaces. Although, with the new shoes that just slip on, many of us adults are forgetting how to tie our shoelaces. Myself, example, because I'm in love with my slip-on shoes myself. I don't know how I got by without them. I just hope they don't take away sliced bread, because then we're really screwed. That has been some things you might not have heard. Some you probably did. Some you maybe not have heard. For Wednesday, July the 6th, 2022. That thing about the kids and technology, you probably not heard that one, but you can probably seen little slight nuggets of that going on. What we got going on right now are a lot more of the things, stories being posted every 50 minutes for the next forevers. So you can give it a jump on picking the stories and seeing what stories we'll talk about tomorrow morning. More interesting stories. After the shooting in Highland Park on Monday, it's been kind of a overtaking of news, so you got to go with that. So finding some of the more randomish things that aren't, somebody shot somebody in a weird place, because there's always people shooting people. It's been pretty interesting. But once we find them, we let you choose which stories are conversational. That's why we get the ones that are there. So you pick them out by being engaged with stories. Also, check out our feeds. Also, check out our sponsorships. Also, check out our partnerships. Check out what's going on. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com and see all the details behind the scenes. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, whether you're live or you're watching this a few hours back. Thank you so much for picking up for these stories and taking along with us for your coffee talk. We are proud to be your news side piece, your tertiary source of news, people to get you things that may not be headline news, but are still conversational and kind of cool to talk about. Let's get on with the day. Enjoy your Wednesday and enjoy life. Stay hydrated, stay limber, stay on task. We need you for the great things going on, and we need you to be here tomorrow for another edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard.